No, I think this is something, this is a positive impact on automation, the positive impact of automation in our lives. So that taking the flow forward, I would now like to invite upon stage Dr. Senthil Kumaran, Chief Confluencer and co-founder, the Learners Confluence. Let me tell you a little bit about him because it's extremely interesting. With over 3 decades of experience in the educational field, Dr. Senthil has started groundbreaking work in the form of Learners Confluence and educational service in India. The Learners Confluence is an educational program focused on developing a technology platform for teachers with the goal of enhancing peer learning as well as knowledge sharing. Dr. Senthil cultivated best practices forums, a program dedicated to mutually learn from each other with national and regional summits on quality in education, as well as school excellence conclaves, over 50 school excellence conclaves. Most of these have been across in government, government-aided and private management schools across the nation. His capacity building training program for senior leadership team and management committee members for educational institutions has been widely recognized within India and abroad. With goals of promoting the concept of excellence in education in every state within India and other countries, Dr. Senthil has traveled and presented in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Sultanate of Oman, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, China, Finland, Japan, United States of America, and Singapore. Dr. Senthil has shown himself to be a passionate teacher, a catalyst for change, persistent and a leader with expressiveness for excellence in all fronts of his work in the education sector. Please welcome on the stage Dr. Senthil Kumaran with a round of applause. Everyone with a great round of applause. Thank you, Dr. Senthil.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I think it's almost good evening to all of you. Thanks, Brahman Garu, for giving me the opportunity to be here. When he called me, I said, I don't know what to talk in a forum when people are in a jubilant mode and everybody is celebrating success. How do we try to, use this particular time to give some kind of a gyan on something which is very, very relevant. So one of the discussions points which came out as part of that was, there's a lot of hue and cry about this particular subject called as school safety. So what is this all about, school safety? I'm not here to, give you the complete 3.5 hours movie, but you will surely get a flavor and some key takeaways with you to go back and try to see that how you can kind of implement into your own institutions. Where are we? Sure. No.
No, sir. Let him do it.
So the topic, I think everybody is talking about it, but the whole country is divided into so much of length and breadth that anything which happens in the NCR belt becomes a national news. Anything which happens, things that have been happening in a place like Bangalore or in Tamil Nadu or any part of the South India, it doesn't become, a national highlight. So where exactly are we going around? Many times when these principals, or the owners, when they give a call and say that who should be held responsible when it comes to school safety or anything happens into your own premises. So one of the very important things which we need to understand is the A1. A1 is basically in legal term all about accused one. So accused one is going to be the principal whether anybody else is there or not. I think that's not going to be important. So one of the questions which somebody asked me when you're going to talk about school safety, who is responsible? I think it's all about the principal. Congratulations to team. I think this is the 5th edition. Year on year, I've been seeing Brahman and team working very well with the schools, trying to communicating the right things to people, something through its publication has been a fantastic job. There is a disclaimer. I'm showing some photographs. I'm going to show some images, some examples. These are not related to any one of your schools. So even if you find that the image of your school is there, then it is not your school. Okay? If at all, if the example is from your school, most of you should not come back and tell me that how can you take it. So there is a disclaimer. or anticipatory bail which I'm taking even before I start this particular session. I thank everybody who have given this gyan to me, whatever I'm talking about. How safe is our school? This is how we are trying to look at schools whenever we try to talk about safety. My school is very safe. In principal's room, there is a huge TV, 52 inches TV with all the cameras, wherever, whatever is happening. Students come there, they try to understand, okay, my principal cannot see me from this angle. The teacher comes and says that this is a location which has still not been accessible by the principal. Camera number 42 is working or not working, we even don't know. But I don't even understand, is the principal's responsibility to look at the TV 24/7 into 365 days? I'm sorry. It is the responsibility of the security officer of the campus who is supposed to keep a track, who is supposed to sit down and work on it. But unfortunately, I don't know, is it being done intentionally or is it being done knowingly or unknowingly? I'm not even sure about it. Because many a times when we try to talk about safety, people give me answers like this. What they are saying, what they are doing, there's no correlation. Because when you try to talk about wants, needs and reality, what are the regulatory wants, what are the needs and reality, there is no correlation. And if I ask too much, then they give me so much of videotape, so much of data that I don't even understand what they are trying to talk about. Because every time when you ask something, they say, no, we are safe, we are safe. See, we have all red color cylinders are seen. It is there. One Kumbakonam incident has to happen. Somebody's Graha Pravesham at Kumbakonam should happen. Is that school teacher? While going, the teacher should lock the door and go. That's why that incident came in and suddenly we became so cautious about school safety. Otherwise, none of us were bothered about it. It was also ornamental in our campuses. And now when we go and look into schools, people even don't know that it needs to be maintained on an annual basis. When we go to our schools, say that, can you just show how many times did you do evacuation plan? Sir, there is nothing called as evacuation. Fire exit plan we have, sir. I said, what do you mean by fire exit plan in evacuation? Please understand the basic, because if you don't understand the basic, we will keep on talking about this for a long term. Let me show you some realities. Let me show you some realities, because as a person who has done assessment for over 200 schools across board, across country and outside, even some of the corporate houses, some gyan, whatever we have gyan, surely I'll kind of share you. This is basically a cupboard in one of the head of the department's room, in one of the popular university systems, one of the so-called ranked university. But when the location of the cupboard is interesting, it is not about the cupboard, it is the location of the cupboard. If the location of the cupboard is being kept, look at that, what is there? We teachers are so particular that yellow bag, whatever you are finding, what is that, That is nothing but the polythene cover which comes on the question paper from the board. For what purpose, I don't even know about it. But if situations are like this, then we really need to understand where are we going. Government talks about transport. This is the reality of transport system. This is the reality of the transport system. Look at the reality of homework. We said that homework should be given, should not be given. If I've been teacher for almost 11 years, one of the easiest way to complete portion is give homeworks and worksheets. And then you can do 1 and 5, ghar pe karke lao, baki sab ho jayega apne aap. You don't have to say. And once that is done, then we don't have to even worry about it. Look at the other examination system. We had fantastic CC system. We ensured that it gets killed. We ensured as teachers it gets killed because we never knew how to write the, anecdotal incidents. Because there was a company which was also giving this particular template which had only 16 behavioral patterns for the child. 17th you can't add because they never had any other. So the situation is like this. We talk about schools. The situation. Look at the kind of relationship which we are trying to talk about. If we try to get into all this, don't you think that we are trying to talk about the school safety, which is very, very necessary for us? And what I have understood is that if you really want to understand how safe your campus is, you just have to look at just 5 things. And whenever I'm going to ask the question, don't raise your hands. Ask this question to yourself. And when you go back out of this award function, please try to look at how safe is my campus. The first and the foremost thing which I would like to look at is that Have we even understood what are the expectations of affiliating board, regulatory board, statutory board? In a Karnataka, a school is supposed to follow 75 regulatory and statutory requirements to run a school. Go back and understand and reflect. Other than the affiliation time and the UGC, CBSE expects us to send something called one sanitation certificate, one building completion certificate, one more, 5 certificates are to be submitted. If you submit that 5 certificate, it's over. But how many of us are even know what is the National Building Code? National Building Code, how many of you are aware of it? So the first and foremost is, what is, wherever you are located, what are the regulatory? Go back and reflect as a team that if can we actually understand what is required. The second question, if you have understood that, the second question will basically, and it will keep increasing. I'm quite happy that at least boards are, I'm not demeaning any board, every board is doing an important job, and boards are not supposed to get into your, they are supposed to only conduct examination, not go beyond, by the way. Actually, officially speaking, going by the definition, you look at CBSE, what is it supposed to do? Examination. ICSE, what it's supposed to do? Examination, assessment. But when we try to get into affiliation, we are also equally responsible for everything which happens in that campus. Because if you are not going to understand what is easy, what is important and what is required, I think we are wasting everybody's time. Second, I've been trying to go to different schools within India and outside and asking them the one particular question, do you have a safety policy? You know what answer I get? Ashwatthama died. That's all is the safety policy written. Why? If it is in favor of us, we will use it. If it's not in favor of it, we'll use it in the other way. I'm sorry. If you have, tell me, go back and reflect. People have been putting on their websites. I also do a little bit of Google. Thanks to this Google, which helps us to find out what is happening in which particular home or which particular campus. And when you try to look at safety policy, it doesn't go more than a page. And it is, again, all about school transport safety, child safety and other safety we say, and it's all about English. But while writing English, look at these 5 things or 7 things which you are supposed to follow. The first and the foremost thing is that, what is the statement of purpose? Do we really know? Do we really know why safety we are talking about? Anytime we talk about safety, everybody talks about the emotional aspects of it. What about the other aspects? Do we cover about it? Do we talk about ergonomics? Do we talk about the sharp benches? Do we talk about the height of the basins in the toilets? Accessibility, everything needs to be looked at. Scope, objectives and strategies, how are you going to work on it? Not only that, have we defined a process and procedure? Accident happens, the driver leaves the school bus and runs away, because at that particular time, the drivers get trained by their coaches. जब भी accident होता है, बस छोड़ के भाग जाओ. He forgets that he is running a school bus. What you are supposed to do, have we even ever told them? In case of emergency, how are we communicating it? Just painting yellow color on the bus, just trying to follow certain basic norms, what that particular person is supposed to do. That's something which we need to look at it. Do we have a supporting structure? I'm not even sure about it. Measurable outcomes. How many of us are, how many infirmaries in our campuses? You can give me the answers outside a little later, I'm around here. How many infirmaries are taking example of how many cases of, bruises and accidents have taken place and how many children have got hurt? Is there a data being managed? Think about it. If it has been done, what this data is communicating? If there are too many scratches, that means there is a basketball court which is not working well. And we really need to understand it. Do we really create it? We don't know. One of the easiest way which we always ask people is, if something is put on the notice board, please try to also say date of removal. Otherwise that circular will celebrate one anniversary in the campus itself, and one circular ke upar dusra, dusre ke upar dusra, dusre ke upar dusra, and finally the day when the pin will fall, all the circular will go into dustbin. So probably we really need to understand that, do we also review our practices? I'm not very sure. And the very important thing is that, how are you going to communicate this to the parents? How are you going to communicate this to parents? If I say that, if CBSE or ICSE or, state boards come and says, please put your balance sheet on website, how many of us are comfortable? Salary structures, we don't want to put. AICT, they made it mandatory. Don't worry, this may be extended to you, because somebody in the committee will be from the higher education, and that gentleman will say, in AICT we do like this, you do it in schools also. So we really need to understand when we try to talk about what are that we are communicating to the parents. How can they engage? How can they take care of it? I was quite happy when we started working with few schools. I work with quite a lot of schools, and when we say that you need to engage parents, they engage them only twice. One, annual sports day. Second is the trip when they go. Why annual sports day? Because that is the day when most of the things is exposed to sun. Sir, hamare tan ka kya hoga? And that particular parent who comes in, he's so enthusiastic. He wears one jacket, shoe, new shoe, cap, and he comes there, and then you say, go and stand there. Catch 1, 2, 3 and come. Now, that's one part of it. Why do you take them for trips? Sir, kal kuch accident ho gaya, you are there, no? You tell them. So, just to make them as witnesses for crime or partners for crime, if we are engaging, it doesn't make sense. So, probably we really need to understand what is your limitation and how exactly it is to be done. Do we have a structure for execution? One circular comes on POSCO, we need to have a committee, we have a committee. How many of us know that there is a safety committee also in every campus needs to be there? The last person, good. If you know it, do it, continue it. But how many of us know the effectiveness of it? When is that last child going to walk out of the building? How many seconds he is supposed to take? Have you worked on it? Please look at that. That will give you a lot of input. Because if you start, you need a structure. It is not about when bullying happens, then we start waking up to situations. No. And finally, communicate to the people who matter. Please get them together in a room and tell them this is what safety means to us. And if we can tell that this is what safety means to us, we don't have to worry much about it. And when we try to talk about safety policy, please review with data. People are happy, students are happy, everybody is happy. Good, everybody is happy. We celebrate. Next day morning there is an accident. Who will bother about it? And every time when you try to talk about data, you need percentages. You don't have to expose the data to everybody, but you need to have the data. When required, you have to open it and share it with the relevant authorities. And if you can do that, that's very, very important. Not only that, I will create one, one constitution, one policy. No. Indian constitution also has amendments. Your school policy also will have amendments based on the changing needs and expectation of all the stakeholders who are part and parcel of it.